you're going to work on shaping this main beam, the upper beam here on the rudder, and then also the main beam, the lower here. Getting this T shape in there. I'm going to use the table saw for that, and this is a lot of questions are asked about this, so this is the way I'm going to try to do it, and we'll see how it works for us. So the issues that we have, first we have to put that T shape in here, so it's leaving a lip just like this on the lower part of the rudder as well. So this is the part that needs to be cut out here by about 1/4 inch on both sides. So on each side here, so 1/4 inch from here and here. You can see I put a little X there. That'll leave a 5/8 inch center section, just like on here as well. And then the gusset will go over that onto this piece, onto that T as well. And probably what we'll do is, like we did on the vertical tail, is we'll cut out that lip on this part so the gusset goes all the way down to the bottom and all along the side here as well. Then we also have the issue of the taper, because we go from this thickness here, we work our way down to this thickness down here. So that taper I've indicated along here, so that's a cut that needs to be done as well along that line, so that the thickness will be the same for the gusset piece that goes onto this piece here. So that's a piece of scrap here, 1 inch by 1 inch, just to test this, run this through. I put the blade up 3/4 inch, and I spaced it off the fence. 3/16 will be what will be cut, and I'm going to run my scrap through there to make sure that I get the required T that I want. So hopefully it'll cut up from the bottom 3/4 inch up and 1/16 in, so that'll leave, or 3/16, so that'll leave 5/8 in the middle if I run it down both sides. Flip it around and do it the other way. So I'll do that, and then it'll need another cut to finish off the T. If my blade was 3/16 inch wide, then obviously I would just need to run it down just once. So let's run it through here and test it. So I ran my test piece through on both sides. You can see it leaves just a channel through there, and that's what these pieces actually break right away. And you can clean that up with an X-Acto knife if you want. And when those are moved out of the way, I can check and make sure that I've got the required dimensions that I need, which is 5/8 wide. And I can check the height on this one little piece here that's left to make sure that's the same as the other one, and it is. So that means that's set right. I can take my regular piece now and run that through. So I've got these two channels here now, and now what I've done is I dropped the blade down, so I'll cut that off, and I basically moved the fence so I can just cut those off and make those T's. It'll be a little bit cleaner than just snapping them off. All right, if you can recall, there's a taper on the width. This goes from 1 inch down to 5/8. I drew it on that line there. The question is, how do you make that cut? So what I did is I made a sled here that is comes from the fence here over to the blade, and then all I did was take this piece, set it on here. So now it's got the full length, full width. It's down on this end, and then it tapers to here to finish off down at the end here at 5/8 inch. So if you come down straight down and look on it, it finishes at the width here. And then I just screwed that down, and then I'll run it through on that. I might have to try to see about clamping that down somehow, and maybe onto this fence piece here. That's a piece of my 1 inch scrap that I had. That's the same height as that. So if anything, I might screw another board on top of that doesn't go over to the blade, just to kind of hold it in place. So I just added this small piece of scrap on the top. Since this is the same height as that, I just screwed this in a couple spots just so it's snug in here. I cut one already, and I just slid this out, slid the next one in to get that same line, and then I'll make the adjustment on that piece of fence here to get the other angle on the taper. So this line here is where I originally had that fence. So what I did now is I just flipped the piece around so it was on this way to get the taper. I just flipped it, and now this piece is the 1 inch end, and then I just have it taper down, and I move the fence over a little bit this way, so that when it's done, it'll be flush on this end, and that'll make the taper. So you can see the angled cut. I'll put my scrap up on top, pinch that down, and make those two cuts. All right, so there's the finished product, top and bottom. So you can see now it tapers down all the way down to that 5/8. So that worked out just fine. So the only issue now is when I put this up next to the other pieces, I think this gusset that's going to go up here on this end, it'll get fixed when we shape the outer edge here, because we're going to end up doing rounding that edge. So I think we'll put the gusset all the way down to the end here, and then that'll be rounded as well when we run this through the router. We'll round the whole piece once it's all together. Here it is sitting on the board, so it tapers down, same height here, tapers down to the trailing edge and fits there. So we obviously still have to make these cuts and this cut down here as well, but that's how it fits.